This is episode 70 with Alan Potter. The first section of this recording was made about a year ago when I had a free Zoom account and it only allowed us to have a certain amount of time to talk. And he and his wife had just returned from Greece, so I didn't really get to ask him about that trip. So a couple of days ago, we got together, we talked about his trip to Greece and the influences that it had on his artwork, and also some of the new art shows that he is going to be doing this year. So I hope you enjoy this episode. Welcome to Story Power, a bi-monthly podcast where my guests and I geek out about the stories we are passionate about in all different genres, styles, and formats. My name is Lucinda Sage-Midgorden, and I started this podcast in the summer of 2020 at the beginning of the COVID-19 pandemic. As I watched the reaction of my friends, family, and social media circle, I noticed that many people turned to stories for comfort and help in making sense of the craziness going on around them. My goal was to do the same for my listeners, but as I chatted with my guests throughout the first year, I discovered that their personal stories were the most fascinating thing about each episode. Neil Gaiman says, "Fairy tales are more than true not because they tell us that dragons exist, but because they tell us that dragons can be beaten." I now know that sharing our experiences with others helps us defeat our own dragons. It is our stories that connect us to one another. Let's see what wisdom today's guest has to share with us. Today is episode 70, and I am talking with my good friend, Alan Potter, who lives just up the road from us. And Alan, your name, in the theater, we would say your name is a characterizing name since you are a Potter.
Mm-hmm. I am.
And you are one of my dream guests. I really wanted you to be one of my guests when I first started Story Power. And I remember you said, "Oh, I'm not very interesting." And I have to tell you, one of my guests has a podcast called Friend Request, and he just talks to people who are his Facebook friends. And he said, every single person says that. "Oh, I'm not very interesting." And he said, but of course it's not true. So I'm so glad that you agreed finally to be my guest because I know that you are interesting.
Yeah, I actually listened to that episode, and that's one of the nudges that I had to contact you and let you know that I was interested.
Good.
I'm still nervous. I always am, but yeah, I'm looking forward to this.
Oh, well, you have such an interesting story. And you said that in your email that you were going to start your blog again. And I'm sorry, I do not remember the name of the character that you created, your ceramic character, pottery character that you created that you write your blog about. But so tell about that.
They're two separate things, actually. The character is Wade Walks.
Oh, yeah.
Wade is the name of the raven that I wrote a little children's story about and hope to continue with at some point. My blog is something I started about, I want to say almost 10 years ago. And it's called My Life in Shorts.
Oh.
And it's actually a collection of personal essays, short personal essays that I've done, basically my life story, starting at the beginning. And I've gotten to a point that's kind of hard for me to continue on, but I'm trying to push forward just because it's getting to that point where people that it will be involved in the next section are very much involved in my life still.
Oh, yeah.
So you have to be careful where you tread when it comes to the personal essay and the memoir.
Yes.
But yeah, and it's been a while. It's been on the back burner for a while. I have the next the next entry written roughly. I just need to get it out and fine tune it a little bit, and hopefully I'll be able to post that pretty soon.
Oh, cool.
Get it back on track. Yeah.
Wow, that's great. Yeah, I think I read early. This was a long time
I think you
ago.
did. Yeah,
I
think I
read some of your some of your essays. And I'm always talking episodes because I'm so used to the podcast.
Sure.
So I read some of your essays, and and then I think you stopped writing or something, or I stopped getting notifications, or I can't remember exactly what it was. So and so I'll have to start reading those again. That'll be fun.
Yeah. I did stop writing. I've gotten busy with the ceramics so I'd really love to be able to start looking back and continuing on with my story.
I was going to make a comment about, I kind of understand that writing, getting hung up on writing, because my poor second novel, it's just languishing. I've been getting some more ideas for it, but I kind of didn't like the direction it was going. And so now I need to go back and rework it, but trying to fit in time to do it, because now the podcast, because of Podmatch, I have episodes scheduled or recorded all the way through May of 2023. So
nice.
They are so fantastic. I have to what I have to do, I guess, is just set aside half an hour or 45 minutes every morning before I do anything else. And I haven't gotten quite into that routine yet. So
I've just gotten to that point, as I was saying before, with the first bunch of essays that I wrote were more simple because it was just my memories and of my life, and some not so nice things happened, and I was put into foster care, so I was able to do one for every foster home, and then I was adopted, and I'm kind of at that point now. And for a while, at this point in the story, my adoptive parents and I really didn't have a great relationship. So I have to they've told me, actually, I mean, they've been reading it all along, and they said, tell your truth. So I'm grateful for that, but I still want to tread lightly and, not hurt any feelings so I'm struggling with that a little bit, but we're getting there. I'm almost ready to proceed with the next chapters that are going to be a little more difficult, because I've got my sisters, my sister and my parents that'll be really interested in reading it and seeing their name in print, and I don't want it to be hurtful.
Well, that's really great, though, that they said tell your truth, because when I first stopped teaching public school, I was going to write it. I did. I wrote a memoir, which was really horrible. It was bad. Because I wasn't a writer really, and I needed the practice, and that's why I started the blog, was to practice writing at least once a week, have something every week that I committed to once a week. And over the years, I have improved my writing. But yes, there were parts that I was writing that I was, a little squeamish about, because the people are still alive.
Sure. Yeah.
And so, I understand that feeling. Yeah.
Conversely, I would love to hear their story, their side of the story written, and they could be as brutal as they want, because both sides, we all knew things weren't great back then.
Yeah.
So it wasn't like it was one-sided. There were two sides to that story.
Yes.
For sure. Yeah.
And that's usually how it is. Everybody's got their own perspective
Yeah.
about things that happen to them. Yeah.
I mean, that's really what prompted me to begin the blog to begin with, was my uncle, my father's brother, was writing his memoirs. He had a really interesting life. He got out of the army as a lifer in the army, and then started a new career owning a chain of McDonald's restaurants in upstate New York. But during his army life, he was an overt spy during the Cold War. So he had all of these stories from when he was in Russia, and had been taken prisoner, and I mean, it was pretty riveting stuff.
Wow.
And he had two. He was working on the third one when he died, but he had two that were finished. Beginning life and adult life. And it just occurred to me. I mean, it was so interesting, and so many things I didn't know about him, that everybody should write their story. That everybody should be, just, if nothing else, just to pass it on to their kids. And so that's where it started.
Yeah, Barry's mom and dad have both done that. And I think Barry's dad's like on his second volume or something. And and my grandmother, actually, my dad's mom, did that as well. And it's nice to have those memories. We're getting together. My mom is turning 90 in July. And so we're having this big family reunion to celebrate her 90th birthday. She doesn't know. It's a surprise. She doesn't know that her sister's children and some of Dad's nieces and nephews are coming. And, she doesn't know that. And all of her kids and their grandkids,
Nice.
But it's going to be fun. And I was thinking, we should just start the recorder and sit around and talk about, Mom, remember when this happened? Or Mom, tell us about your childhood, or, that kind of thing. Because I think that would be fun.
Yeah. It sounds fun.
Yeah. Well, so now tell about Wade Walks again. Now, did you publish that book?
I published it on my self-published on Amazon.
Oh yeah.
I as a potter, one of my animal characters that I created was this raven that has like humanoid feet, and most of my pieces are animals, but he sort of had a personality. And I figured he needed a story. And so the story happened pretty quickly. It's basically this raven that's born with the feet. And so he can't fly because his feet are very heavy. And so he decides he's going to get up one day, and instead of trying to keep flying, he's just going to walk. So he begins his journeys walking around and seeing the world. I wasn't looking to create a story that had a moral or, a message, or I just wanted to do just a story, just a meandering through the world story. And I mean, I think the message emerged, as happens in life, but it's not in your face.
Right.
So it's very light, and that's a picture book for young children. My wife, Barb, is a teacher, so I had her obviously proofread it, and she's a reading specialist. So she gave me the go ahead with the appropriate language and nature of the story. So it was fun. It took a lot longer than I thought it was going to. Like I said, the story happened really quickly. In a couple of sittings, I had pretty much the story written, and I struggled for really years on how to illustrate it. I had originally planned on doing ceramic sculptures of all the pages and taking them out, in the world and doing photographs.
Oh, yeah.
In different locations. And I actually went ahead with a lot of those. I still have the pieces in the studio, when him laying under the tree after falling out of the tree and, walking. And I've actually taken some out on location and done some of the pictures, but it was taking too long. And so I ended up doing watercolors as the illustrations. I had talked about, hiring an illustrator, but I didn't want to get that involved in it. And I can paint a little bit. So I tried. So I did the illustrations myself, and then, just self-published on Amazon.
That's great.
It's pretty easy, and it puts it out there immediately.
Yeah. So we'll have to put the links for that. And then in your blog, and then, I love your whimsical little animal characters that you create. They're so great. I have one of your horses.
Yep.
But the little mice are so cute. Yeah. And there are others. No, you have new ones now, though, since.
Oh, yeah. Every year I try to add something, one or two pieces. Or if we do a new show in, another state where there might be, some animals indigenous to that area, we're doing shows in Colorado this summer. So I'm doing lots of bears and, Bigfoot is one of my newer fun creatures, the Bigfoot and the Yeti, depending on what colors I glaze them.
Yeah, that's so great.
Yeah, and the mice are always there. The mice, I can't make enough of the mice, and they fly off the shelf. They're just they're lower price point, and they're just a good item for people to pick up if they want something of mine. But
yeah, and they're so cute. So, you could put them on a shelf and have them look down at the, on the bookshelf, looking down at the books or something.
Yep. Absolutely.
Yeah. But I love when you post those things on Facebook or Instagram. I just love seeing all the new things you're creating and where you are. You go to Texas, and where else do you go?
We just had a show in San Diego, which was pretty good. So I do some aquatic, sea life for those shows. I did some sharks and whales and seahorses and fish and starfish and all kinds of fun San Diego type. It's funny though, those pieces don't always do as well at places like that because those pieces are so saturated. You go to San Diego and there's starfish everywhere. And so people have already got enough of them, but I'll take them to Colorado or, and everybody's got a bathroom that has an aquatic theme or knows somebody that collects starfish so they actually do better outside of San Diego.
Yeah. And now you go to Texas too. Where do you go in Texas?
Texas, we had one about a month ago in Dallas. It's called Deep Ellum is the area of Dallas. It's a real artsy kind of almost hipster kind of, it's got all the coffee shops and lots of bars and restaurants and galleries. But they've been doing that show for quite a long time. And so I can bring some of my more oddball creatures to a place like that because it's got that reputation, kind of like Bisbee does, or like Austin, which is where my other show in Texas is. We do a big Christmas show in Austin. It's a longer show. It's usually over a week to 10 days. And it's all day long, but it's so much fun because you really get to know the other vendors because you're with them for so long and it really becomes a family. And they have all kinds of Austin's real big for its music scene. And so they have a lot of bands come and play at the show and yeah, so that's a really fun show.
Have you ever been to
Mhm.
San Antonio?
I've never done a show there. I've been there, but
Oh, but
yeah,
you've never done a
I have
show.
a brother. I have a brother that lives there. So,
Oh,
but
oh, I remember what it was I was going to ask. Do the year after year are some of the same vendors at the Austin show?
oh yeah, yeah. The show has been going on for over 40 years,
Oh,
and there's vendors who have been there since the beginning, and they'll go every year. But every year there's like ones that have been there for 40 years, they're starting to age out. A lot of vendors are getting the craft show circuit has been around for so long that a lot of these vendors are getting older, and there's not as many younger people, it seems, coming up, but there's a few out there that are going to keep it alive. But yeah, I mean, we've done it 4 years now. I think this coming up year will be our 5th year.
Oh, wow.
But yeah, there's some that have been there for 10, 20 years or more. And also the families that come to the show, because it's been going on for so long. There's adults that are bringing their kids who came with their grandparents when they were kids. So
yeah.
So it's a real tradition for a lot of families.
Oh, that's
because
fun.
it goes right up until Christmas Eve. So it's a real Christmas. People come and do their Christmas shopping, listen to some good music, and yeah.
That's neat.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun.
So you must like doing the shows. Barry said it's too much work for him. He doesn't like doing it because you got to cart all that stuff around, and
it's a job. I mean, it's definitely, the load in and load out is definitely not fun. And, it always has challenges, and of course you're battling with all the other vendors for, to get your vehicle in closer to where your booth is. And, it's a dance trying to work around everybody.
And then the weather.
So you got the weather, the economy, just make, how good is the advertising at the show? Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of factors but yeah, most of them do a pretty good job of advertising, and obviously a lot of people, that's the show they go to every year. And
that's cool.
Usually it's more often better than not.
Yeah, that's cool. So you're going up to Colorado in the summer. Will you be at more than one show?
Yeah, we'll do, I think we have 4 or 5 Colorado shows.
Wow.
Through August and September. And then October we'll be in New Mexico for the Balloon Fiesta, which is a 2-weekend show. And then after that, I don't think we have much planned. Talking about doing an open studio here at the house. I'm not sure if you came. Did you come to the last one? I think Barry did.
I don't think I did. I went to one.
It was quite a few years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I know Barry made a tile for an installation piece that I did. I couldn't remember if you were there.
That's cool. Yeah. He hasn't done any pottery for a while since they separated him from the pottery studio at the city. And so, and now they've changed the whole, it's a maker studio now. It's not just a pottery studio. So I've missed that. I've missed being there a little bit. I mean, I was never there a lot, but I just empty bowls and them participating in Art in the Park. And well, Virginia at the college has the college pottery program has taken over empty bowls now. So so that's good. So are you completely retired now? And is Barb completely retired now? So you can just travel around to these shows whenever you want? Yep.
I'm just working in the studio and doing shows and selling work in galleries. And I was working on Fort Huachuca for a little while, but it's been a couple of years since I've had to work there. That was like a temporary kind of on-call job. So I could, if they called, I could say, you know, I'm busy. But it was short tests that they were doing for the Army. And from officially retired, but she substitute teaches a lot on Fort Huachuca mostly. And she is on the board of the Montessori school in Bisbee.
In Bisbee. Oh, cool.
So she's almost busier now than she was.
I
nice because
understand that. Yeah.
It's nice that she's still flexible, so she can, you know, say, you know, we're going to Colorado this weekend. So she can't. Yeah, she's sort of retired.
Yeah, right. Well, I worked for 2 years in a Montessori school when I was right out of high school. Well, I guess it was not the first year out of high school. For the second and third years out of high school, because I worked for 4 years before I went to college.
Right.
Yeah, and that was great. I loved the whole Montessori concept of teaching. I thought that was fantastic. So
yeah, she's really been getting into it. She's not necessarily Montessori trained, but she knows education very well.
Yes,
and I think she's been an asset to the board. And it's such a small school, and they're growing. So
that's good.
She's trying to give it a little legitimacy, you know.
Yeah, because people in this country, they don't know much about her, Maria Montessori, and man, her philosophy of education is so great. You know, you get the students as early as you can when their minds are pliable enough to learn all this stuff. So, yeah, that's great. So, yeah, it's great that you two get to travel and you have flexible jobs. And now so that, well, you're working in the studio, but she has flexible jobs and hours so that she can say, oh, I'm sorry, I can't do it now.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Very.
Yeah, she's really enjoyed substitute teaching.
Oh, yeah. I enjoyed that too. And then I got my master's of education and it was like, oh, now I have to do all this paperwork and stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's nice. She gets to learn, you know, if there's a class that, you know, she's not in love with, you know, the kids are bad or the teachers doesn't leave good plans or whatever, she can, you know, not do that class again.
Right.
And she's at the point now, and she knows so many teachers out there that she's, you know, doesn't get the calls first thing in the morning, you know, asking if she can come in because she's scheduled weeks ahead of time.
Oh, that's good.
Teachers have her, you know, call her and say, could you work now, you know, this day.
Yeah.
So,
that's right.
She likes.
That's much better. Yes.
Yeah.
Well, the fall is going to be my last class to teach at the college because my teaching colleague is finally getting his master's I think he's finishing it up this month or in the summer sometime. So, so he'll be taking over the acting and the theater workshop, and eventually he will take over the dramatic structure class too, but he's a theater professional, so he's got a directing gig for his version of Twelfth Night. He has some friends who have a professional theater company up in Anchorage, and they wanted him to do it, and they got a grant, and so he's teaching acting the first 8 weeks, and then he gets to go up to Alaska during the winter, and do Twelfth Night. Yeah, but his.
Well, that'd be more time for you to write.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Well, I'm trying to practice getting my schedule all set this summer while I'm not teaching, so that because I have to actually schedule times. If I don't, I'm one of those flighting people who, oh, what do I want to do today? No, I have to have some kind of structure
Yep.
to follow. It doesn't have to be super strict, but like
Yeah.
having a blog once a week, I decided Tuesdays and Thursdays are my Patreon days. Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays are my podcast days. I have to think of those kinds of that.
I have to absolutely do that. If I don't, I'm really easily distracted. And if I get up in the morning, I grab my coffee and I head right out to the studio. Yes. Because if I don't, I'm done.
Right.
I need to get out there and get working as fast as I can.
Yeah.
And if Barb says I'm bored or, I want to go to Tucson, that's it for me.
Tucson's so far away. So that's an all-day trip.
Oh yeah. I'm done in the studio at that point.
Right. Yes. Yeah. Right.
And I'm not really the kind of guy who will, work in the yard in the morning and then go in the studio in the afternoon. I have to get my studio work done early
first. Yeah.
Then hit the yard later.
Yeah, right.
But I can't go back and forth. I don't know. My mind can only focus on one thing at a time. And
yeah, me too.
Yeah.
I'm not a good multitasker. And actually, studies have shown nobody's really a good multitasker. That's a misnomer.
Right. Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah, I've heard that. Yeah.
Oh, Alan, this has been so much fun. So do you have anything else you want to say before we go?
I don't know. This is a nice opportunity to see you again. We haven't seen you in so long, and we live so close.
I know, it's weird.
It's too bad. We should get together more often.
We should. But, yes. I like that idea. Well, I'm going to post pictures of your cute little characters, your animal characters. And I'm hoping that you do another Wade Walks book, because the character's so whimsical looking, and that's fun. That's a fun storyline.
Yeah, I definitely have another one working. It's kind of on the back burner.
Yeah.
And I actually have a couple of other children's book ideas.
Oh.
That I would love to, different characters, but I would love to do a whole series of the Wade Walks. Barb really wanted me to focus on a region, and then make them a little more educational. Wade goes to, Oregon, or Wade goes to, Mexico, and then put in little tidbits about the area and history. And
that sounds fun.
So that's an idea that we're playing with. But
yeah.
But so hopefully somewhere down the road.
But you're right. Writing a book, it sounds so romantic, but there are unromantic things about it, and it does take so much time. It takes so much time. Yeah.
Yeah. In a couple of years, I did the NaNoWriMo, the Novel Writers Month. So I actually have saved on disc somewhere a couple of short novels that could really be worked on. So they're more fiction, but they're kind of fun too. It's fun just to take that month and just nosedive into doing nothing but writing.
Yes. Yeah.
But it's been a while since I've done that. Yeah.
I had another guest his novel just came out in December. It's called The Resurrector, and that's how he started it, was with NaNoWriMo. Yeah.
Well, yeah, it's kind of fun.
Yeah. So thank you. I'm so glad that we got together.
Yeah. We should do it again sometime.
Yes, we should do it again sometime. So Alan, now I have I'm paying a subscription, so we don't have to curtail our conversation if we don't want to.
Nice.
Yeah. So I'm glad that we get to add this conversation about Greece, because when we stopped talking, I said, "Oh my gosh, I forgot to ask him about Greece," because we loved it when we were there. And so now I know it's almost a year now since or maybe over a year since you've been there, but did you go there to see Greece, or did you have an agenda?
Yeah, we no agenda. We we were originally going to go to the Amazon.
Oh.
We took the trip through a group called Road Scholar, which is used to be called Elder Hostel.
Oh.
It was an older generations way for them to get around, and it was very, very basic. You would stay in a hostel or almost dormitory situation, but they've upgraded it severely, so it's much more comfortable, I think, than it used to be. And they're educational programs. So you go and you have lectures and guides that are experienced in the wherever you're going, and they have them all over the world. And it's a great company that my parents have done several of their trips and recommended us to do it. Road Scholar. Yeah. Originally, we're going to go to the Amazon, but it didn't work out. And then we said, well, let's try Greece. And then COVID hit, and we got postponed for a year plus.
Yeah.
And but we eventually made it. And it was on mostly on a cruise ship. So we were primarily in the Aegean Sea, in the Cyclades, the ring of islands there.
Yes.
So we started in Athens and then took off from there and went around the islands and back to Athens to leave. But it was gross. So it was a lot of fun. It was so much fun.
Did you get to see? But I saw you sent me pictures, Greece-inspired pictures, which I will put in the show notes. But did you get to see any artwork? A lot of artwork, or?
Yeah, we hit quite a few museums. Oh, cool. We went to all these islands, and they all have their ruins, and they all pretty much all have their own little museums.
Cool.
So lots of art, a lot of it was similar, from island to island. There were certain themes that traveled from island to island.
Yeah.
But it's interesting because all the islands, of course, they all have their different stories. One might be, supposed to be the birthplace of Apollo, right, or, the birthplace, where the Cyclops, hung out, or, so they all had different stories associated with them. So they all had, artwork that depicted those stories, which was interesting.
That is interesting.
Yeah.
We were taking our trip around the world, and we weren't on a tour. So we didn't go to the islands.
Right.
But we went from Athens, flew up to Thessaloniki because we knew we had a contact there. One of my theater friends had a friend who was living in Thessaloniki and becoming an Orthodox priest. So, and the Orthodox priests, if you're married when you're becoming a priest, you can still, be married. So we stayed with that couple up in Thessaloniki, and then he drove us down to the peninsula of Cassandra, and we stayed in Aphytos for about a week. Took a vacation from our vacation.
Right. Nice.
Which those peninsulas, shoot down into the Aegean Sea. So that was fun.
It's so beautiful.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
And we went to Delphi, which is the navel of the world. And
Right. Yeah, it was just whenever we travel, it's always nice to go to those places that you see all the pictures, and in movies and
Mm-hmm.
television shows
Mm-hmm.
and like on Santorini, one of the islands, there's that view, that you see in every picture of Greece of
Yes.
the blue domed buildings and
Yes.
it's the white, it's just white
Yeah.
and blue and the
Well,
blue of the ocean and yeah.
yeah, we kind of noticed that a lot of, especially when we were going from Thessaloniki to Cassandra, he was driving us, and a lot of the houses were white and blue. A lot of the buildings
Mm-hmm,
were white
mm-hmm.
and blue, although some of them had other bright colors
Right.
too. But white and blue seemed to be kind of a theme.
Yeah. Yeah. The guide told us that a lot of the places there, the houses had to be, I mean, they had to be painted that color.
White and
The
blue.
roofs needed to be blue and
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
So some of them have zoning restrictions, I guess, which is fine. I mean,
Sort of like Santa Fe.
it's
Your house,
beautiful.
your house
Yeah.
has to be Adobe.
Right.
Or at least has to look like it's Adobe.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Oh, that's so cool. How long did you
Yeah.
stay there?
It was 10 days, I believe. Yeah. 10 or 11
Oh,
days.
oh yeah.
So we
Oh,
hit a
that's
few. Yeah. So we were at a different island every day. I guess we were 2 days in Santorini. And then we ran into a couple storms towards the end. So our trip was diverted from like one port we were supposed to go to. And they took us to a different one. So there were many to choose from. So it was
that's
fine. We got to see
that's cool.
different places. Yeah.
That's
And we
neat.
made it up to one day was in Ephesus in Turkey,
Yes.
which is supposed to be the final home of the Virgin Mary. So we got
Yeah.
to tour that site as well, which was
That's
interesting.
that's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. That
That
is
was actually one of the best days I thought. There was in Turkey was we
mm,
started out there and then we went to a farm for lunch where they had like family seating outdoors and
oh
they
cool.
brought out big plates of traditional foods and
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
which is it was similar to the food that we were getting in Greece as well. Um, the
Yeah.
tabulis and feta, lots of feta and
Right.
lamb
Oh, and we
and then they had some dancers come out
oh
and
right.
doing some traditional dances and
That's cool.
yeah, it was really fun. Then we went
Yeah.
to a ruins that was really expansive and it's kind of started at the top of a
Yeah.
hill and went down into all these building ruins and different rooms that you could walk into and huge mosaics and it
Yeah.
ended down at the bottom at a huge like amphitheater where they
Yeah.
obviously where they had shows and performances.
Yeah. The only thing we didn't get to do when we were there is I wanted to go to Epidavros to see that famous theater where you can stand and whisper down on
Mm,
the
mm,
it's called the orchestra
mm.
and people up in the top seats can hear you whispering.
Oh
but
wow.
but Papandreou died when we were there, and so the whole country shut down, and we were stuck in
Uh,
Olympia.
uh,
For about 3 or 4 days. I think we were there for about 3 weeks in Greece.
right.
So yeah, but I would love to go back again. It was so beautiful. So
Mm-hmm,
I was going
mm-hmm.
to ask you about the food. Did you like the food?
Yeah, yeah. It was, there were a few days that we during our tours where we
Mhm.
were they would bring us to local cafes or restaurants or
Mhm.
like the place in Turkey where we got some of the local cuisine, but that was one of the I think the disappointments of the actual trip. The cruise line itself is we didn't get a lot of
Oh,
like fresh seafood or it was kind of disappointing, but
yeah.
but
That
yeah, we definitely had. I mean, I had some I love lamb, and lots of
Mhm.
really good lamb, and
And
um,
we loved the salads, the Greek salads. Oh.
real simple, but yeah,
Mm-hmm.
just
Mm-hmm.
yeah, really really flavorful.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow, that's so cool. So, you are continuing to be busy with your art shows. I thought maybe after the holidays you'd get to take a little break, but nope.
Oh yeah, I've once again bitten off more than I can chew, and uh, last year I said I'm not going to do as many this year, and it's hard to say no. When you have an opportunity,
Yes, really.
and there's a few new shows that we're going to be doing this year that we're excited about.
Oh, cool.
We got into the New Orleans Jazz Fest.
Oh
Um,
my gosh. I gotta
they
write
have
that.
a big craft and art section
Yeah.
uh, during all the music, and yeah, we were really lucky to get into that one, and a
When
bunch
is that?
the end of April, I believe.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's coming up.
yeah, way too soon. And
Whoa.
we're taking a little vacation before that, so that's a week and a half. I'm not going to be able to be in the studio to get ready,
Oh,
so I'm
wow.
freaking out a little bit. But and actually a show in Tucson before that one. So yeah,
Oh, wow. That's
and we
cool
got to
though.
do another one in Reno, Tahoe in the fall. So
Oh, cool.
that'll be a good one too. Yeah.
What's the name of that one?
It's the Reno Tahoe International Art Festival.
Whoa.
It's a second year that they've had it, so
Oh.
it's still growing. But yeah, that should be fun. We've never been to that area before, so
And the Tucson one, is it like an established art show?
it's actually, yeah. I mean, it's an established art group, but this
Oh.
is the first year they're doing it at this time of the year. It's
Oh.
at the La Encantada
Oh,
um,
yeah.
Plaza up in the foothills.
Yeah. We know that one because the Apple store is there, so we go there often.
Oh, gotcha. Yep,
if
sure
we
is.
if we go to Tucson, we have to go to La Encantada to the Apple store.
Yep, that's the busiest store in the plaza for sure.
It sure is. I'm sure it
Yeah,
is. Yeah. Okay, cool. That's so great.
and then we just have I don't even know how many others that we've got throughout the year. It's going to be a really
Oh
busy
man.
season. Yeah.
Yeah. So when you said to me when I was talking about creating this online course and you said as if you didn't have anything else to do, you were sort of doing it tongue in cheek to yourself because
Yeah. I think we're both in the same boat. Yeah.
yes, we are.
Yeah. It
Oh,
seems like every week you're adding something to your
no,
world.
no, I've decided this is enough for now. I'm concentrating on getting more patrons at Patreon and students for the online class, and then I have just kept doing my blog once a week,
Hmm.
and I have enough recordings for the podcast now to take me through October. Or a
Yeah.
couple of them are scheduled. The recordings are scheduled. They're people that I've recorded for Patreon.
Hmm.
And I met them through LinkedIn or something. And so yeah, we're gonna record in August probably their episodes. But yeah, so I had to hide my host profile on Podmatch because I was just getting so many requests.
Oh wow.
I couldn't keep up. I just couldn't keep up with it. So I had to hide it for a while.
Hmm.
Yeah. But I got my podcast up on Internet Movie Database. I have to do some tweaking to it to add some people, that have been guests and put Barry on as my graphic designer and stuff like that.
Right.
And then I'm going to add it to another one called Pod Chaser so that hopefully I'll get more, traffic from my podcast. Yeah. And then I got advice that I need to go find some podcast contests enter some
Okay.
podcast and some content. So I'll probably do that too. So what I do is every morning I say, okay, I'm going to do 2 or 3 things. And today I'm going to do this, this, and this. And I just do a little bit every day. And that's the only way I can get it all done.
Yeah. Yeah. I have list after lists referring to other lists. And yeah, it's just, I'm really bad at that. Every once in a while I have to consolidate them. And yeah,
you're right. Yeah.
Especially right now, I'm going a little crazy. So we got back late last night from the show in Phoenix area.
Right.
And so today's just kind of getting everything in order, kind of getting everything ready, staged and ready to take off tomorrow morning and just hunker down and get as much done as I can. Yeah.
Yes. Because you're going to go to.
Oh, we're going to the East Coast for a week and a half.
Oh, good.
In a couple of weeks, see my parents and in Virginia.
Oh yeah.
And go to the Outer Banks in North Carolina.
Oh.
So we've never been there before. So.
That sounds fun.
Yeah. Should be a good time of year to go.
Yes.
Before the tourist season.
Yeah, cool. So you've got to get some work done before you go.
Yeah. Yep. Probably get up early and go back out after dinner and yeah.
Well, I love watching the photos that you put up on Instagram. I think those are so fun. All the new characters that you've developed. I love your giraffes. I couldn't get any pictures of your giraffes or your mice, but I love the the bears and all the animals that you're doing. They're so great.
Yeah, I try to come up with something new every year, or whenever we travel somewhere. If we do a show in California, we try to add a couple things that are, California themed or, aquatic. Or going to New Orleans. Of course, I've got to come up with an alligator.
Oh, right. Oh, yeah. Yeah. You can create an alligator that goes with Wade on Wade's trips.
Yeah. Takes him across the water. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Well, that's so cool. Well, thanks for doing this extra little recording with me because, the other one was, I had the free account and it was limiting our conversation. And I didn't like that.
Yeah, it was quick.
Wow. Have a great 2023.
Thanks. And you as well. We'll have to all get together sometime.
Oh, I know. Really. I just feel like every day I have to do something. If I don't, I won't keep up. You probably know the feeling.
I know.
Yes.
I say that, but life gets in the way. And
yes. Yeah. Right. Yeah. We'll have to get together and have some Greek food.
That sounds good. We could do that. We've been making Barb makes the dough and I throw the dough on the grill and it puffs up. So we get some nice little pita
cool.
action going and make some homemade falafels and
hummus and Greek salad. We make Greek salad a lot.
Yep.
Okay. Well, thank you so much again. We'll talk to you soon.
All right. Talk to you later.
Before I go, I'd like to give a big shout out to Podmatch, which I call a dating service for podcasters. Since I joined their platform, I have met so many wonderful people from all over the world, and they make the matches so easy that if you are a podcaster or you have a message that you want to share, you might want to consider checking them out. The affiliate link is at the bottom of my show notes on my website at Sage-Woman Chronicles at sagewoman.life. Part of what I love about them is that they promote civil conversations, and can't we use that right now? So if you check them out, tell them Lucinda sent you. I'd also like to invite you to my Patreon community, where we will have chats with authors or creators. We'll have member chats about the stories that they love, and occasionally we'll have extra episodes or uncut episodes of Story Power. So please go check out my Patreon page at patreon.com/storypower without the hyphen, all one word. I hope you enjoyed the show. If you like what you heard, please share it with a friend and give us a review on your favorite podcast app. It will help people find us. You'll find the show notes for this episode at my website, Sage Woman Chronicles, at sagewoman.life. You can leave a comment there. And remember, as Philip Pullman said, after nourishment, shelter, and companionship, stories are the thing we need most in the world. Until next time, this is Lucinda Sage-Midgorden. Thanks for listening.